On April 29th, still harboring a cargo of doubt about Hagbard, Joe Malik decided to try the simplest method of tarot divination. Concentrating all his energy on the question, he cut the deck and picked out one card that would reveal Hagbard Cheleen's true nature, if the divination worked. With a sinking heart, he saw that he had come up with the Hierophant. Running the mnemonics Simon had taught him, Joe quickly identified this figure with the number 5. The Hebrew letter vow, meaning nail, and the traditional interpretation of a false show, a hypocrisy or a trick. 5 was the number of Grummet, the destructive and chaotic end of a cycle. Vow was the letter associated with quarrels, and the meaning nail was often related to the implement of Christ's death. The card was telling him that Hagbard was a hypocritical trickster aiming at destruction, a murderer of the dreamer-redeemer aspect of humanity. Or, taking a more mystical reading, as was usually advisable with the tarot, Hagbard only seemed to be these things, and was actually an agent of resurrection and rebirth. As Christ had to die before he could become the Father, as, in Vedanta, the false self must be obliterated to join the great self. Joe swore. The card was only reflecting his own uncertainty. He rummaged in the bookshelf Hagbard had provided for his stateroom and found 3 books on the tarot. The first, a popular manual, was absolutely useless. It identified the Hierophant with the letter of religion, in contrast to the spirit, with conformity, and with all the plastic middle-class values Hagbard conspicuously lacked. The second, by a true adept of the tarot, just led him back to his own confused reading of the card, remarking that the Hierophant is mysterious, even sinister. He seems to be enjoying a very secret joke at somebody's expense. The third work raised more doubts. It was Liber 555 by somebody named Mordecai Malignatus, which vaguely reminded Joe that the old East Village Other chart of the Illuminati conspiracy showed a Mordecai the Foul in charge of the Sphere of Chaos. And Mordecai Malignatus was a fair Latinization of Mordecai the Foul. Mordecai, Joe remembered, was, according to that half-accurate and half-deceptive chart, in dual control, along with Richard Nixon, then living, of the Elders of Zion, the House of Rothschild, the Politburo, the Federal Reserve System, the U.S. Communist Party, and Students for a Democratic Society. Joe flipped the pages to see what the semi-mythical Mord had to say about the Hierophant. The chapter was brief. It was in The Book of Republicans and Sinners, and said, 5. Vow, nail. The Hierophant. They nailed love to a cross, symbolic of their might. But love was undefeated. It simply didn't fight. 5 stone men were in a courtyard when an elephant entered. The first man was stoned on sleep, and he saw not the elephant, but dreamed instead of things unreal to those awake. The second man was stoned on nicotine, caffeine, DDT, carbohydrate excess, protein deficiency, and the other chemicals in the diet which the Illuminati have enforced upon the half-awake to keep them from fully waking. "Hey," he said, "there's a big smelly beast in our courtyard." The third stone man was on grass, and he said, "No, dads, that's the ghostly old party in its true nature, the dark nicks on the soul." And he giggled in a silly way. The fourth stone man was tripping on peyote, and he said, "You see not the mystery, for the elephant is a poem written in tons instead of words," and his eyes danced. The fifth stone man was on acid, and he said nothing, merely worshipping the elephant in silence as the father of Buddha. And then the Hierophant entered and drove a nail of mystery into all their hearts, saying, "You are all elephants." Nobody understood him. At 8 o'clock in Ingolstadt, an unscheduled group called the Cargo Cult managed to get the mic and began blasting out their own outer space arrangement of an old children's song. "She'll be comin' round the mountain when she comes. She'll be comin' round the mountain when she comes." And in Washington, where it was still only 2 in the afternoon, the White House was in flames, while the National Guard machine-gunned an armed mob crossing the mall in front of the Washington Monument, a single finger pointing upward in an eloquent and vulgar gesture which only the Illuminati knew meant, "Fuck you." In Los Angeles, where it was 11 in the morning, the bombs started to go off in police stations. And in Lehman Cavern, Markov Cheney disgustedly pointed out a graffito to Saul and Barney. Help stamp out sizism. Take a midget to lunch.
You see?
He demanded.
That's supposed to be funny. It's not funny at all. Not one damn bit.
She'll be driving 6 white horses. She'll be driving 6 white horses. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes.